Hi, welcome to my channel. I got up this morning to some information that had begun last night, that had begun streaming through last night. So I wanted to share that with you quickly. I haven't made a video in a while, and it's not that I have nothing to say, because we all know I can talk, but I've been so busy that I just haven't had an opportunity to put a video together. And so I wanted to just bring an update through of what's been taking place. So last night, as I was laying down to go to sleep, I was going through the little steps that I go through to make myself relax and tune in so that my experience in dream state can be that of a higher timeline. And so as I was in that in-between state, connecting into my higher self, I heard very, very clearly that we are embarking on a major shift. And for those of you that have been following my writings on Twitter and Instagram, also on my blog, I've been writing about the energy that we're in, which is very significant upgrades right now, because we are anchoring more of the higher timelines and moving further away from the 3D matrix. And we are really starting to see that dissolve. And for some of us that have been able to tune higher, we're actually not even wanting to tune in there anymore. Like myself, I find myself not interested in what's going on at all, wanting to stay in the higher timelines, being called to, do more creative work, whether it's writing or artwork, because I love to paint and draw. And so I'm doing a lot more of that these days. Find myself very immersed in that, being out in nature, connecting in, all of that is very, very important as it's nourishing us. And so for those of us that are seeing that higher timeline, we're going to start feeling ourselves pulling away from the chaos and destruction that's playing out on the lower timeline. And, even if it's in our neighborhood, it doesn't have to be in our immediate reality, right? I live in New York, and we are in one of those places where things have been very chaotic at times, but I don't let that factor into my reality. I'm choosing the higher timeline. I'm not saying it's not there, it's just not in my reality. It's not in the timeline that I'm operating on. And I think that's really important for us to begin to get clear. So last night, as I was connecting in, I heard very clearly chapter 4, trust. That was so profound because it was so clear. And it was given to me very specifically with information pertaining to why it's called chapter 4. And so, of course, a chapter in a book is like a new shift to the storyline. So I feel like we're seeing that happening now. And we have to understand that this is still the movie playing out, or still the story that's playing out as it clears and dissolves and deconstructs the lower timelines of the third dimensional matrix. And so what I thought was interesting was the number 4, because the 4 for me is about stability. It's a number that I've used in the past to remind myself that I need to be responsible. I also see it as a number for foundations. So think about that: stability, responsibility, foundations. We're in a place right now, energetically on the earth, where we want to create a stable environment for ourselves. And even for those that are living in a household where not everybody is awake, and you might be the only one that's awake, we don't really have to participate in that scenario that is being handed to us by others. We don't have to participate in what they believe to be true. And it's okay for us to have a different perspective or a different point of view and continue to tell ourselves that that might be their reality, but that is not our reality, right? And that comes up often to show us where we stand, where are we aligned. Okay, it's very, very important to have that awareness. And so for some, I would say that as we're going through our evolution in consciousness, every day it's like waking up and putting on, you know, a different pair of shoes or a different outfit or different jewelry, right? If you're putting on the same jewelry all the time, then you know, kind of you're getting into a habit and you're getting into a pattern, and that pattern becomes a routine, and that's the old third dimensional reality. Okay, so if we're sitting with the same thing that we've always done, we're going to get the same results. So this is where we're being required to step into the higher energy and to try and break out of those patterns. Sometimes they're showing up in other people so that we can see where that pattern is that we still hold, what that looks like from this new perspective that we're able to be holding, if we're not getting our emotions involved and trying to be emotionally distant from it, right? Because we can't do that either. We have to understand everything, and we have to see everything that is presenting, and then come from a place within us that is calm and still, so that we could see the choices that we have. Those are timelines, and that's how we choose the timelines, right? So if something is presenting in our reality, we can stop, we can look at it, and we can assess, I could do this and this would be the outcome. I could do that, that would be the outcome. Or I could do this over here and this would be the outcome, which is in my best interest, which is the highest aligned choice for me. Okay. So in making that conscious effort to slow your thoughts down and be present in the moment when we're choosing that next opportunity, the next path, the next conversation, we can do a better job of navigating our reality and staying in the higher timelines. Okay, because I'm asked that question all the time by people that are in relationships that are very conflicted. One person is in their ascension process and the other person is still very 3D. And, you know, it's not our job to shift everybody. It's not. That soul contract, that was a collective contract for light workers, ended in 2012 when we went into spiritual ascension. Okay. And now we are really light bearers or light keepers. We hold the light, we show people the way, but we're not doing the work for them. We're not pushing them into the work. We're not doing that. That's why everything has changed now. And as we show people the way, we are becoming way showers, okay, to show people, yes, this is the way that we want to go, by leading the example, okay? And that's really important to remember, that we are not taking anybody with us that doesn't want to come with us. Everybody is on their own path, and it's up to them whether or not they want to come. And at this point too, very sadly, some you know, soul contracts are going to end, which means that relationships are going to separate and break up because it's time for something new, or it's time for a shift. And how that happens is up to us too, whether we are collapsing that timeline ourselves, right? We're closing out that timeline, or that timeline collapses on us. So if we know that we're in the wrong place, whether it's a job or a relationship or friendship or anything else, and it's time for us to move on, we have a choice as to whether or not we want to close out that relationship, and we could do so in a very gentle and easy way. Or we could hold on for dear life and wait until that timeline collapses on us. And that could look like being fired from your job. That's a timeline collapse. You didn't do it. It did it for you. Being, that your friend or relationship or whatever tells you in a very harsh manner that they don't want to be with you anymore, or they just abruptly leave, right, and never talk to you again. That's a timeline collapse. You didn't do it in a very gentle and soft manner, which allows there to be some kind of connection still. We always want to come from the highest place, from that fifth dimensional consciousness, which is more highly aligned. And, to be honest with you, from my perspective, I don't believe that, relationships were meant to be in forever, because if you think about the journey of the soul came here for the experience of being in this human physical incarnation and understanding what it's like to be in the physical, right? So knowing that we are here to have experiences, and if we look at everything as a lesson, then we're going to say, well, lessons are very heavy sounding. Lessons can sound very dense, and lessons, the word lesson for me is a very 3D, word. And so I like to think of it as experiences. Experiences are kind of light and fluffy, more 5D aligned. And if we're having an experience, then there's nothing wrong about it, because it was the experience that we were meant to have. Good, bad, right, or wrong doesn't factor into it. We experienced it, and then something was gained from it. Again, always, on the upper level, right? It was gained. It wasn't, we're not going to say it was learned. It's not like we did not come here to suffer. So any words in your vocabulary that are a lower vibrational word that, is associated with suffering needs to go, right? Because now we want to align with the higher timelines, and the higher timelines are associated with higher vibrational words. Okay, like the difference between hope and faith. Hope, lower vibration. Faith, much higher vibration. Okay, lessons, lower vibration. Experiences, higher vibration. And if you practice this enough, you'll be able to feel it in your body, and your body will become your barometer for what is your truth and what's not your truth. I use this exercise all the time with my students in my classes, and also in my private one-on-one sessions. And it's something that really can shift you when you start to work with it. So it's very, very powerful to tune into that. Holding that knowledge or that awareness that things are starting to change, and that they're giving us a new chapter in what's taking place, and that we need to go into for stability foundations, and know that we're safe and everything is okay, right? Because it sounds very root chakra based, which means there might be some more upheaval on the earth, maybe some more fires, or some more disruption in some way. But to know that we are safe and that everything is going to be okay. And the key word with this chapter 4 was trust. So trusting that everything is happening in exactly the way it's meant to happen, and will be working out in the highest, best interest, the best good of all, including us individually. When we have that trust and that faith, then we are unstoppable. We have to think about how we're navigating this reality. If you are tuning into my writings and sharings, you see lately I've been pushed by my higher self, by my team, my power team, to write about intention, and how we're creating our reality through our thoughts, our words, and our actions. Everything is happening in the quantum field. Right? So the quantum field holds infinite possibilities. And so if we think about that, we have to think about, what we're putting out is what we're getting back. What we're holding as an intention then sets the energy or the vibration or the frequency for our body. And based on that frequency or vibration or energy, we're attracting in what is a match to us, That's how it works. It's very simple. It's not complicated. It's the human mind that makes it complicated. So when we start to realize this, we could have anything that we want. We just have to maybe go through a process of sifting and sorting through what we do want and what we don't want, and allowing ourselves to be okay with something showing up that is not, maybe not exactly what we're looking for. And then that is a moment to prompt us to say, okay, that's not it exactly. A good example of that is I was working earlier with a client who is looking to manifest a new vehicle, and got to the vehicle. It was exactly the one that they wanted, got to the vehicle, and the interior was not to their liking, the color of it. And they realized that if they had taken that vehicle, it would have probably bothered them every single time they got into the vehicle to drive it. And that's a timeline choice, right? Making that choice not to take that vehicle because you see the timeline down the road showing you that the energy that you're putting into that vehicle every time you get in is not highly aligned energy because you don't love the interior. So as I was explaining to them, that's okay. Now you're going to manifest the one you do want, and you know the color of the vehicle, you know the interior of the vehicle. So now put that out to the universe. And as I'm saying that, I can see the street behind them because I work from my home. And down the street comes the color vehicle with the interior that they're wanting. It was the same type of truck or SUV. And I started laughing because, of course, you know, my team tapped me on the shoulder and they were like, you forgot one thing. You forgot the make and model. Make it that make and model. Because while the vehicle coming down the road had the right colors, it was not the right make and model. So we have to be specific to a degree, not overly specific. You're not going to account for every little single detail, because if what's in your realm of infinite possibilities is something greater than what your human can comprehend, then you're going to stop that from coming in and just go with what you think is all you're deserving of. Okay. So it's like when I got into this house, you know, I did not imagine the house to be quite as beautiful as it is. And I would have never imagined that the wall colors would have been, you know, like a model home would have been with different wall colors and very cozy, separating each room, and then all the beautiful hardwood floors with the design and everything. I would have never thought of that because that was not in my consciousness. All I knew is I wanted it to be beautiful. I wanted it to be inviting, and I wanted it to be someplace that I would just love to be, you know, every day, especially if I could work from home, right? So the rest of it was there. It was a high vibration. The house is very high vibration the way it is set up. So it matched what I was holding as my intention in my energy field. So it's going to be very important for us to make sure that we're setting ourselves up for this trust that we need to have, that everything is going to work out the way it needs to work out, and take our eyes off the specifics of what's playing out in our reality. And I know many of you say, how do we do that? Because it's everywhere we look. And I would say, well, stop looking where you're looking. Okay, turn the TV off, get rid of the newspapers, put your phone down once in a while, unplug from that matrix. That's all part of 3D. Okay, that's all part of what has to go. And even, you know, social media, there's an addiction there. That constant need for some kind of fulfillment because we're not fulfilling it within ourselves. Figure out what you love to do. I love to paint and draw and color. And so that's what I do. When I'm not doing something else that needs my attention, or I'm not working in a session or doing a class or something, I'm usually doing artwork and doing something creative, whatever it is, dancing or anything else, or singing or whatever, is high vibrational. It's 5D. So it keeps us in the higher timelines, right? So because what I've been feeling for this year is I don't know how this is going to go with the election. I'm seeing a lot of stuff starting to kind of come through that is making me think maybe there's going to be some kind of something happening that's going to not either make the election happen or drag it out or something. And, I don't want to say and be too specific of what I'm thinking, but, I want us to all be prepared that, we might have a little ways to go. I do feel, because I keep getting the message that November and December are going to be somewhat bumpy and uncomfortable. Okay. And we're just going to have to really trust our process that everything is going to unfold in the highest good and the best way. But that means that we have to take our attention away from those places that we don't want to engage in, that we don't want to have show up in our reality, because then that's what we're going to be creating, because we're focusing on that, right? We don't want to do that. And then in January, things will start to kind of, come back online to being somewhat normal. But, my team's already told me, my higher self has already let me know that this is not going to be over that quickly. Okay. And this window that we entered in 2017 was another 7-year period. So if you think about that, that puts us into 2024. Okay. And I know some of you are like sucking in your breath, having a very hard time right now, and maybe, feeling very uncomfortable in your body. And I want to say, just close your eyes and breathe and listen to what I'm saying, because this is not something that any of us have control over, but we do have control over how we're navigating this. Okay. And that is the most important part of all of this, the most important part. And I'll be here with you the whole way through, right? Helping you navigate through this. As a matter of fact, I set up a new 8-week class where we're meeting once a week for 8 weeks. I did it with a 6-week program, hugely successful. So now I'm bringing it back with an 8-week program that you can find at my website under events. And this way we can be together, and I can help guide you through and answer any questions, and we can resolve any conflict coming up. And it's just another mechanism for support. Okay. As aside from doing one-on-one sessions, if I could, I would teach all day, every day, as opposed to doing sessions. But, again, I have to go back to that. Still, my reality requires I function on some money, because, I have to pay different bills and stuff that come in. So once that goes away and I don't have to pay for things like electric or housing and stuff like that, I will, be here 24/7 with information for you when I can. I try to do that as much as possible now through the writings, even if it's a short writing, because there's a transmission coming through that. So try to tune in and feel the support, feel yourself, allow yourself to be supported by that, right? Because that's why I share what I share, to give you a flow of where we need to be, what we need to be rooted in, what we need to be working on, how we need to do that work, right? So, even with this understanding that this is not going to be over, there's still going to be so many people that are not going to wake up right now. There's going to be a lot of people that are still going to be asleep going into next year. And so it's going to take them a little longer to wake up, and that their process of unfoldment is going to be a little bit longer, pushing us out into the next year. All of this as it begins to unwind is in layers. Everything is in layers. I have a lot of people asking me about Nasera Jacera. I had posted on a while back, made a video on it. It's happening now. They have already started with student loans. Other countries, I have already gotten confirmation that other countries have had their debt cleared. And I know it's happening here in the United States, but we have to remember everything is happening in layers, and it's not going to happen all at once. That's the human, again, that human experience, wanting it to happen now. I want it to happen this way. It's got to look that way, right? That's all human 3D matrix of, being impatient, immediate gratification, immediate satisfaction, right? That's not how it works. We have to have the patience, and we have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to help ourselves through this time. So keeping that in mind, it's also coming down to, I've been asked about, arrests and stuff like that, which I don't really want to get into here, but that's, again, layers. And that's going to take a very long time. When all of this comes to light and we start to hear more about the children and everything, when all of that comes to the light, is it going to be tomorrow? No, because that is so deep. It's so incredibly deep. It's going to be so painful for so many people that it's going to take a long time to really unwind that, to bring that forward. So I don't really see, this being a very quick unwinding process. I think, we're going to clear a lot of it by, the beginning of 2022. But, we're in that 7-year window. It just is. That's the way this is all working. It's ascension. It's not us. It's how the cosmos is orchestrating this whole thing. We're kind of just along for the ride, and how we navigate our experience through our intention is what's going to unfold for us. So we have to take our eyes off of all of that, right? We got to take our eyes away from all of that. And we have to focus on this moment right now. What can I do right now to help myself feel better? What can I do right now to make myself move forward in the way that's most highest aligned? And, I know a lot of people are starting to really feel these ascension upgrades. I don't use the word symptoms because those are very third dimensional word, but they are upgrades. They're upgrading our DNA, bringing more of our spiritual intel online. You'll notice that your intuition is getting sharper. Your connection to your higher self is coming in very, very strongly. And is there going to be pain? Yeah, when we're in resistance and we don't honor our body and just go lay down when we're just starting to feel kind of off, then it'll go into a full-blown something, migraine, body aches, right? Spine is being affected because that's our infrastructure, our neck where light codes come in, third eye activation, eyes getting wonky, migraines. We have the whole left side of the neck, which plays into the vagus nerve, which is the unification process between the right and left hemisphere of the brain, unifying. There is so much going on. Template wipes make us feel like we've forgotten everything prior to today or this now moment. And then slowly we come back online from that. But that's clearing out these old programs, these old beliefs, these old patterns, these old habits that don't serve a purpose anymore. Okay. And I see it coming up with me. I'm a bread and butter kind of girl. And, this morning I had my cup of coffee, and, now these days I have usually a green smoothie that I make with spinach or kale or some other stuff. And it's got a lot of really good, healthy stuff in it. And I was putting my coffee cup on the counter, and I had this flash, this desire to have a slice of toast with some butter on it. And I laughed because I was like, oh, look, that program is coming back up to be cleared now at a deeper level, And that's not to say that I won't allow myself to have some bread with butter and jelly on it. It's just that it wasn't on my menu for today, right? It wasn't what I was planning on or what I was desiring to have today. And I could tell, was that something I desired, or was it that a habit? Because when I said, yeah, no, the bread thing, we're not going to do that today, it went away. It wasn't like it was still gnawing at me to have, right? That's the difference. So I knew in that moment I was clearing a program. And so we have to be cognizant of that. And other people in our reality are going to need to clear their programs. And some of them are going to want to do that through us. Like when somebody comes and they're angry with you for whatever's taking place in their life and they're feeling frustrated, we could, use this whole COVID thing with the masks and people, yelling at you for not wearing a mask out in public. I don't wear a mask. I'll only wear one if I absolutely have to. And, in the beginning of this, I struggled with that. Boy, oh boy, I would put that mask on and go right into hot flashes. I would just like start to become anxious, and I'm like, what is going on? Then I realized I was clearing some serious abuse of power timelines, you know, from maybe a time where either I was an abuser and made people wear a mask, or I was someone abused wearing a mask. And so I let it come up. Do I get that triggered with having to wear one these days now? No, because I cleared all of that and let it come when it came. So if somebody is feeling angry with you for not wearing a mask in public, the best thing to do is just, you know, hold space for them to say what they need to say. Don't hold judgment, because they're clearing a program. They're clearing fear. They're clearing manipulation. They're clearing abuse of power. They're clearing all of that. People believe what is being fed to them, and a lot of that is coming through the television. So, you know, the best thing that we can all do is just stay absolutely centered. We are entering a new chapter. This corridor that we're in is in effect until the 27th, and it's shifting us up into higher timelines. Now, we want to utilize this energy in the best way possible, which means that we need to then see what we're wanting to create in those higher timelines. Are we wanting to have the chaos and destruction come to our neighborhood, come to our home, come to our door? No, we don't want that. So we have to see, if I had the ability, what would I want to have show up in my reality? What do I desire? What does that look like, right? So for me, I would like to see myself out of New York by next spring. So my thoughts when I'm sitting and I have some downtime are going toward manifesting. What does that look like? What does it feel like? I want to feel into it. So I'm running that in my intention, right? I'm sending that intention, that vibration, that frequency, that energy to my universe, and saying, okay, this is what I'd like to show up. Whatever's going to make me feel like this, that's what you can send me, because this feels really good and that's what I want more of. And so that's where we have to be. So, you know, we have this shift. None of us, I don't care who we are, none of us know what this is going to look like, because we've never done this before. Nobody has ever done this before, right? We're all like newbies at this, basically, even though we've been doing this, or like myself, I've been doing this forever and ever and ever, or it feels that way. We're all newbies. So take a breath, close your eyes, get recentered. Don't stress about what is not in your control. If you are tuning into something that does not feel good, tune higher, tune out of that and tune into something higher. If you're finding yourself getting addicted to social media, turn it off, shut it down, go someplace else, turn the TV off. We have to start looking to the higher timelines. We have to start looking to create what it is that we would like to see happen in our lives. All the yummy that we want, all the deliciousness that we want to come into our lives. That's what we have to start to embrace and bring in, okay, as a creator being, because we're all creating our reality. So as a divine co-creator with your reality, you need to focus on what that is for you, right? Because we're all different, okay? Most importantly, have trust. Trust that what is unfolding is going to be perfect. The more we can do this, the more we can hold trust, the faster we will shift through this, believe it or not, because we speed up the timelines. We govern how fast this is all going, how slow this is all going, right? When Gaia went into spiritual ascension in 2012, nobody was expecting it. Nobody was prepared for it. But all of a sudden, enough people were awake on the earth that Gaia was like, okay, I'm ready. So we dictated that. Now, just like we dictate that, we can also dictate how fast we get through this, and how quickly and safely and powerfully we get through the other side, because it's all based on us. It's us. We're creating this reality as we're going. Whatever we're holding inside is what is transpiring to the outside. It's what's showing up for us, okay? Very, very important to have that awareness. So I'm going to leave you here. If you are feeling like you want to connect and go deeper and have some additional support, but maybe a session is not right for you, check out the classes that I'm having. It's going to be every Wednesday, 7:30 for 8 weeks. We're going to be working in the quantum field. A lot of this stuff that I covered here, we're going to be doing in that class. I'll be answering questions to the best of my ability. And, you know, it becomes one big family. It's a beautiful gathering of souls. And I could tell you from the last one, everybody made friends with each other. They stayed in touch afterwards and just really enjoyed the class. And I enjoyed everybody as well. So just know that there is support beyond this. I'm going to try and do more videos now that I have my new laptop, my new MacBook, which is what I'm on today. So thank you for bearing with me through that, because that was very frustrating that my computer decided it was, you know, not wanting to be in my energy anymore. So yeah, so stay positive, stay focused, trust everything is working out perfectly, okay? And stay in the higher timelines. And I love all of you so much. I look forward to connecting again. And if there's something that you want me to cover in one of these videos, please feel free to drop it below in the comments section. If you like the video and it resonates with you, give me a thumbs up, because it kind of bumps me up so that other people have an easier time finding it, because they've changed the algorithms now with YouTube. And if you're new to my channel and you've not yet subscribed and like the content, please subscribe, click the bell below, because the bell will notify you when a new video is available, okay? And be well and keep up the good work, and let's do this. We can create this shift faster than anything else will create it for us, right? We have to do the work. So let's do it. We're in it together. And where we are going one, we go all, okay? All of us together. And I love you guys. So be well. See you soon. Bye.